something I spotted early on was this air needle scaler, Central Pneumatic. This screams Harbor Freight, and this is a Harbor Freight item. It's got the item number right on it, as a matter of fact. So this is brand spanking new in the box, needle scaler. And for those of you who don't know what a needle scaler is, basically you've got these hardened steel pins or long rods that stick out the end here. It's run by compressed air, and these things basically act like a little tiny jackhammer, and they go to town and they bust up scale and rust, heavy deposits of rust and scale on like castings and things like that. So I wanted one of these for like when I work on an old tractor or something like that, and I hadn't gotten around to buying one. I spotted this. 38 bucks is kind of nuts on this thing, because this is like a $50 new at Harbor Freight. Everyday price is 50 bucks. But anybody who buys at Harbor Freight knows they almost always send, if you get on their list, they'll send you coupons, super coupons, whatever, and you can end up buying this thing brand new for sometimes even less than this. So I tried to get this thing for 10 bucks, and it was too early in the day, so they weren't going to let that go, and kind of countered back and forth with the guy who was there, and he wanted 20, and I said, I'm going to pass on that. And the thing sat there all day, and nobody even asked. I saw, like, the whole time, well, for the whole half a day that I was there, I only saw like 2 guys that ever even picked this up and opened it up and looked at it. And then they didn't ask about how much would you take for it. So I felt pretty good about that. So when time came for me to leave, I went back over and I said, how about 15 bucks? And he was like, no. And he was like, 20. And I said, oh, well. Or I think he said that's the best I'll do is 20. And I said, well, 20? I said, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to take it for the 18 that you offered it to me for earlier in the day. So I paid 18 bucks for this. Brand new needle scaler, so that's not bad for 18 bucks. This is another item that was there all day. I was surprised how long it stayed there. This was kind of actually up high on a shelf or on top of a cabinet or something, so it got walked past a lot. And if you're not in the market for one, you might not even think about it. But I had early on spotted it and thought, gee, that's a pretty nice made in the USA pop rivet deluxe kit. And it's like, I think it's like barely used. There's quite a bit of pop rivets left in it, and the tool's in excellent shape. And like I said, this is a USM Corporation of Reading, Pennsylvania. So I think this is actually, I'm not positive if this is made in the USA, but the company that marketed it is a U.S. company. But that might be just a distributor. But anyways, they had 12 bucks on this. By the time I was getting ready to leave, I snagged this for 5 bucks. So I'm pretty happy with that. I actually do not own a pop rivet gun. So this is my first pop rivet gun, and occasionally I'll come across something where I thought, hey, that'd be a good way to handle this would be with a pop rivet gun. So now I got the pop rivet gun for 5 bucks. Another thing I walked by several times during the day, didn't think much about, and then when I was getting ready to leave again, at some point I just said, hey, how much for the box of rags? Box of rags, it's been opened, not quite sure. Looks like there's still about that much left on the roll, so it actually looks like they haven't used a lot of them. They had to mark that sold because I had it piled up with a bunch of my stuff out the door. Got that for $1. I don't even know what this sells for. This is the Scott brand. Rags in a box, they call it. That's what it is. I got that for $1, and that I'll keep right down here. So when I wash my hands at night down here, I can towel them off. This is an item that I walked around, I picked out of a box that Mr. Picker guy was actually looking through the whole box, and then he was going back and forth price-wise with one of the guys there, and he wasn't getting anywhere. He wanted it for a lot less, and so finally when he walked away to think about it, I went and looked in the box to see what was in there, and there wasn't anything in there I was really interested in. But then I spotted this, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. And I realized that that is a homemade, some sort of a clamp, but I said I'd be willing to bet this sits right in the miter gauge slot on a saw, and then they've got this plate attached to it, and then they've got this threaded rod. So I'm thinking what's missing here is a clamp, and then like a nice good sized knob that would screw down on here to clamp this down. And I grabbed this because I was already thinking maybe maybe this would fit the table, the slot on my table on my Rockwell sander that I picked up. So maybe when I get that all set up, I'll try this in there and see if that fits in there. And if it does, then what I'll do is I'll fashion a clamp and put some kind of a nice locking nut on there, and it'll just be handy to hold something down to go back and forth, like if I want to just touch up the edge on a tool bit or something like that. I don't know. But I walked around with this for a while because I didn't even know what the heck to offer for it, and I ended up getting it for $1. Actually, this might have even been thrown in with one of the 2 for $1 deals or something, I don't remember. I just know I got this for next to nothing, so why not? Same goes with this. This I think was also in that box, and this is something nobody was really paying any attention to. And then when I pulled it out, I looked at it and realized, well, this is just a piece of steel plate, okay? But what they attached to this steel plate that we're looking at right here is actually a pretty nice little vise. I don't have any idea who makes this, but this is actually almost like a little machinist vise. It's got the deal here where, alright, so right now we got flats on the 2 jaws. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's 2 V-grooves here. So this is designed so you take this and you flip it up like this, and now I've got 2 V-grooves to hold a pin vertically maybe. Then we get a large V-groove here, flip it up. Now we get a large V-groove to hold something horizontally. And then, I'm not sure what you would do with that, but we get the slot here, so you hold this up and now you get the slot. So that is a kind of a neat little vise, and then he put it on, or somebody put it on this metal plate, I think to facilitate clamping it down to like a table on a drill press. That's my guess anyways. But let me just take a few seconds to see if I can find a maker on this vise. Definitely not shop made, because on this side in a circle are written the letters PATAPLD 4, so that's patent applied for. Well, it's marked patent applied for on both sides on the arms here. As far as the maker of this thing goes, it looks like that might end up just having to remain a mystery. There's little oopsies right here. You can see where they're drilled. I wonder if you pull this up, is it hidden under here? Nope. Well, it's starting to look to me like if there is a maker's name on this, it's on the underside, which I'm not going to see unless I unbolt this thing. So if anybody recognizes this this vise. This knob, by the way, is metal. It's not plastic. It's a nice metal knob. This is not a cheap piece of crap. Well, so one of you guys can shed some light on it. The manufacturer of that one's going to remain a mystery. So then they had a lot of clamps there for clamping up, you know, furniture and things when you're gluing up, doing woodworking. There were some nice ones there, and there were some cheap ones there. And I didn't really feel like buying any of those. I've got quite a few clamps, or I've got enough to get me by. I don't do a lot of woodworking. And but what I did notice on the pegboard were there was quite a few C-clamps. So, I was kind of surprised that in the first couple hours nobody bought any C-clamps. So I went back over and I looked at the board, and I noticed that on the floor in front of the board they had this C-clamp and this C-clamp. These are the two biggest ones. They're not huge. This is a number 406 Wilton of Schiller Park, Illinois. And this one is a Grippa number 104, and this is a J.H. Williams, drop forged in the USA. This actually is missing a little cross rod there. I think there's supposed to be a rod that goes through there that's missing. But you can see they had $6 on this one and 10 on this one, and then all the other ones were smaller. Well, since nobody was buying any C-clamps, I went over and I started to go through them, and I said, how good of a deal can you give me if I buy multiple C-clamps? And so we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and the end result was I ended up paying about $1 or $2 a piece for all of the clamps by taking all of them. I took all of the clamps, the C-clamps that were there, that were made in the USA, and left everything else. That's a Billings. These are Billings bodybuilders. That's another Billings, smaller. Another Billings. That's a Cincinnati tool. That's an early one. This one says made in the USA, forged steel, heat treated. Now this is a Cincinnati tool. Cincinnati tool. That one looks like a... These are like these flat steel ones. It's a number 55 Super Junior Cincinnati tool. That looks like a cheapie, but it said made in the USA, 2-inch clamp. Here's another one of those. I don't know who makes those. Probably the same company that makes these. These are 1.5" or whatever. This is the little bitty one. So I think these really little ones here I may have even gotten for 50 cents a piece. But these are also made in the USA. Cincinnati Tools, number 51 Super Juniors. Got a bunch of those. I actually don't remember. I got a hell of a deal on these by taking all of them. For some reason now I think I might have gotten the whole lot for $22 or something like that. It was a good deal, believe me. Another item I kind of passed on by quite a few times as I went through, and then when I was getting ready to leave, or near the end at some point when I was still picking, X-Lite tool nut driver set. They had $4 on it. It's missing 2 by the looks of it, so it's only got 2, 4, 5, 6, and it's got 8 out of the 10 in it. But anybody who knows X-Lite tools knows that these are really excellent. Pardon the pun, excellent. Nut drivers. I got this for $1 or $2 because nobody else had bought it, and as the day wore on, they wanted to move more stuff. Of course, they still had Saturday to look forward to. And then anything that was left at the very end of the day, they had a flea market guy that they dealt with. He would come in and buy whatever was left for one lump sum, I guess, and blow it out at his flea market. There was a table with a lot of hand power tools on it, and I had looked through it a couple times, and I don't know how I missed it initially, and then I went back later on, and lo and behold, what do I find? I find this. This is a Dumore hand grinder. This is a real popular hand grinder that's still found. A lot of guys actually still use these, and I actually even plugged it in. No, actually, I think it's got $7 on it, and I got it for $3. So for $3, I didn't even go through the trouble of finding a plug to plug it in. I just took it. And I got it back here to the shop and I plugged it in and it actually works. Now, the only thing is, there seems to be a lot of wobble in the end here, but that might be just this, now I'm looking at it, it's just this, I think this arbor for this cutoff disc is the issue. So I think if I open up this collet here and take this off, but this is really more like a die grinder. Is what this is more made for. And then it was funny because I had found something earlier on and kind of didn't even pay much attention to it. Or no, actually I bought this and then I ended up finding this can. Okay, this is an old tea canister, which, you know, if you get a set of these are actually kind of collectible. People like this retro stuff for their kitchens and that. This is the tea one. It's missing the handle, but the guy used it for storage. Found this buried down in the box. They had $3 on it. I got this. I think the guy actually ended up throwing this in when I showed him what I found. Oh, here's some more of my 4 for $1 and 2 for $1 items. I put them in here for safekeeping. Alright, so let me get these out of here. We'll get back to those in a second. Alright, so what's in here? A whole bunch of cutoff discs. There's also, in the bottom, what he originally must have been using this for storing these adjustable little feet that screw in to the bottom of something. There's quite a few of those. But I wanted these discs, just like the discs he's already got on here. I got those. I snagged this right at the beginning out of the 2 for $1 tray. This is just a big NPT tap, and it's got some crud on it, but since I got it for 50 cents, I didn't really mind. Yeah, that's coming off. I don't know what that stuff is. Pipe dope, maybe? Well, it seems awfully hard to be pipe dope. Yeah, so that's a 3/4 inch NPT pipe tap. This drill bit looked like it was in pretty good shape. These drill bits here, they don't feel like card buys. They're too light. I think they're just coated drills. Black oxide, whatever. But they look like they're in good shape. And then there were these little containers here, and come to find out, these are Morse straight shank drills. Jobber's length. What caught my eye is these are left-hand drills. So I thought, oh, those are cool. So I got each one of these for like $1/4. So for 25 cents, I got a little box like this filled with these little itty-bitty left-hand twist drills. And what a left-hand twist drill is good for is if you've got a really small, well, these obviously it would be for a really small screw. Get a really small screw broken off. If you try and drill out the center of the screw with a left-hand drill, sometimes what will happen is you might get lucky and it might actually unscrew the screw for you. So this one only has, it's so small they're wrapped in this paper, but actually there's quite a few in here, but they're so tiny. These are wicked tiny. What the heck are these? These are size 70 left hand. These are size 50s. These are size 1.25 millimeter. And these are size 53s. So those are more tiny drills. Alright, so these cabinets right here are the items that really caught my eye. I thought, boy, those are nice. There were 5 cabinets. 2 of them were regular 5-drawer file cabinets, and then there were these 2, and this one here is number 3. I haven't figured out where I'm putting this yet, so it's just kind of sitting here in the way. This is, you know, this is nice. It's got these shallower drawers. So I've already started doing some, you can see there's my sold sticker. You see my little gray post-it notes there. I already started doing some some sorting. I'm kind of just using these as like sorting drawers right now, and then when I get to a point where I feel that I've got an idea of what I want to put and where, I'll start labeling these drawers better. But these are really nice quality steel cabinets. You know, I mean, they can take some serious weight. That's all my quick change tool post stuff put in there. That's actually pretty heavy. But anyways, there's those. These were two of them were $18 a piece, and the third one was $14. So I'm not sure why they did it that way. I think they wanted 18 for this one because it's got two little drawers in the top. This one's probably the nicest of the bunch because it's got 4 little drawers, and then, you know, the rest of this size here. And then that one there has just got those size drawers there, so that one was 14. So it worked out 50 bucks for the 3. Absolute steal in my book. If you need storage, you know, they ain't pretty, but they're good heavy steel, well made. Then I got this little puppy right here. This one was $6. That's actually 2 sections. One section stacked on top of another section. And it was funny because they never bothered cleaning this one out. And so what ended up happening, actually, this one here, they missed one drawer. And so I kind of looked through that real quick. Yeah, so this is just miscellaneous hardware, and then I was like, oh, what's in this box? And I opened it up, and oh, lo and behold, pop rivets. And it just so happens I picked up a pop rivet gun, so that was kind of neat. And here's some more. There's a steel rivet. What the heck are those? Okay, more pop rivets, small ones. And just screws and nuts. Here's a little metal tray that'll come in handy. Some hinges, cabinet hardware. I think those are concrete anchors, small ones. This thing, which is, these are hinges. These are satin brass button tip hinges. This thing, I have no idea what this thing is. I haven't been able to figure this out. This is clearly a very specialized tool. So does anybody recognize what that's for? Looks like you're supposed to hold this part and then like insert that into something and then maybe turn this. I was wondering if this is for some kind of a special like bike rack carrier or something like that, or kayak thing. I don't know. The only markings it has on it is AVK. It's got a patent number on it. I could probably find out that way. So I don't know what that is, but if anybody knows, you can enlighten me. This little drawer thing here, on the other hand, every one of these drawers had stuff in it. Here are 2 brand new rigid zero clearance inserts. So these are table saw inserts. That's a zero clearance one. So the idea is that you raise your blade up and the blade will cut the slot, and then you'll have basically like a very little gap between the side of the blade and the slot. And then there's a dado head insert, and they both appear to be brand new. And there's a trowel in there. This side was all foam rollers. There was, here's a bag of foam brushes, lots of bags of these acid brushes that a lot of woodworkers use for gluing things up. I actually gave a couple of bags of these to my friend who helped me move the cabinets. He's into woodworking. He's got a little wood shop. This cabinet's empty. Oh, that drawer was empty. And this one, well, what's in there? Alright, so this piston ring compressor I actually got for a couple bucks at the flea market, and I just threw it in here and kind of forgot that it was in there. This is just some rolls of some kind of like almost like rubber material. And there's quite a bit of it. So I don't know what I can use that for. I'm not going to throw it out though. I might be able to find a use for that. It's a nice, well, not really. It's kind of a not much use because it's a single caster. There's these bags that have an eyelet in them, so you could put something in there and then hang it. Apparently, it almost seems like if you want to tag something, maybe you would put the paper in there that had the stuff written on it. And the paper would keep the stuff, keep the sign or whatever from getting dirty. I don't know. I don't really know what that's for. And then there's this box, this baby white box. But oh yeah, these are bugle head screws, really early ones, big ones too. You know, you see these are great if you're restoring old furniture and you want to try and, you know, get original hardware. So that's basically the last of it. I had one other item, but I can't show it to you because I actually left it out in the Alpine shed outside. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just I'll shoot a clip of that tomorrow and then show that one last item. And that was also an item that I bought right like at the beginning. Got a good deal on, I think. Also, here's that other item that I snagged pretty much right at the beginning of the sale. They had 30 bucks on it, but I pointed out to the guys working there that this is pretty much like comparable to a Harbor Freight hose reel, and that they sell for like 40 or 50 new, and then with the coupon, so that was kind of close to what you could buy it for new at Harbor Freight. So I got it for 20 bucks. And this is a Cummins Industrial Tool, which some of you may not be familiar with that name. That was a company that prior to the Harbor Freight era, they used to come and bring like tractor trailer loads of tools, and they'd set up and do like what they called a tool show at, you know, like VFW halls and things like that. And they'd just sell all of this cheap stuff. So, you know, it's not going to be really high quality, but yeah, I figured I'd take a chance. But that's brand new in the box. The box is kind of beat up. It's actually already been out here and rained on since I brought it home. But but this was a lot of this stuff was mail order too. So this particular one was not bought off the truck, but it was probably ordered at the show and then shipped to him later. You know, they might have like one on display, and the guys would look at it and go, oh yeah, okay, I'll take one of those. And so that's it. That's going to close out this this series.